Hey there, listeners. It's Red from Red Hunt, and today we dive deep into captivating relationship stories sourced straight from the depths of Reddit. So grab a seat, hit that subscribe button, and join me on this thrilling journey. Am I the antagonist for telling my stepdaughter she's acting like a child? I, 48 years old female, met my husband, 51 years old male, 5 years ago, and we got married 2 years ago. Pretty early on in our relationship, he told me that he had 2 daughters with his ex-wife who are now 15 and 22, and were 11 and 18 when I met them. While he was telling me about them, he mentioned that after he and his ex-wife split up, his older daughter Chelsea blamed him and still does. I didn't think much of it at the time and didn't end up meeting either of them until a year later. The first time I met Chelsea was during a 4th of July party with my husband, both his daughters, his ex-wife, her husband, and various friends. By that point, I had already met my younger stepdaughter a few times, and she and I actually hit it off pretty well. However, Chelsea seemed upset and kept her distance from me the whole party. When I tried to introduce myself or even talk to her, she gave me very short answers before going into the house. It was at her mother's house, for the rest of the night. That is essentially how our entire relationship has been. I've known her for 4 years, and in that time, I don't think I've had one friendly conversation with her, nor have I seen her have a nice conversation with my husband. Every time that my husband or I try to reach out to her to try to spend time or even talk to her, she'll blow us off or directly tell us she doesn't want to see us, and she has never spent any individual time with us. By which I mean she's only around in group settings like parties and family events, etc. And even then, she's very cold and distant towards both of us. When my husband and I got engaged, I called both Chelsea and her sister to tell them, and all Chelsea said was congratulations, and then not to expect to see her at the wedding before hanging up. She ended up not attending the wedding at all. The straw that broke the camel's back, however, was a few days ago when she walked by while I was on FaceTime with my husband's younger daughter. I called her over and asked her about her graduation. She's graduating from college this May. She once again blew me off and told me not to worry about it, and when I told her that my husband and I would be there, she said she already knew who she was giving tickets to and that it wasn't either of us. I snapped and told her she was being ridiculous and acting like a child, and that her parents' divorce was 14 years ago, and she needs to get over it. She told me that she was over the divorce, but that she'll never get over her father being a piece of shit, her exact words. I was honestly speechless, and she hung up the FaceTime before I could respond. My husband got a text from his ex-wife that night, telling him that if he wants to have a relationship with his younger daughter, he needs to leave Chelsea alone and tell me to do the same. My husband told me Chelsea has been this way towards him since she was 9, and we're not sure what to do, and it would be helpful to get some outside perspective. It sounds like Chelsea has deep-rooted issues with her father that existed before you even came into the picture. It's unfortunate, but it's not fair for her to take it out on you or for her mother to try to dictate your relationship with your stepdaughter. It might be worth considering family therapy to help navigate these complex dynamics. My wife told her friend she doesn't love me more than her ex and that I was her second option. I'm devastated, and I don't know what to do. Here are the facts. My wife Sarah is the love of my life. She's a woman of charm, grace, beauty, and accomplishment. I met her through mutual friends 6 years ago who thought that we'd be a good fit. At first, Sarah didn't seem to be too impressed with me, but as we chatted, she warmed up to me and we even exchanged numbers. We went on a date and had an amazing time. That turned into another date, which turned into us dating and then eventually marriage. Sarah is such a warm, caring person who helped me through some tough times and was always there to pick me up, dust me off, pat me on the back, and help me forward. I thought she would be the woman I'd raise a family with and grow old together with, but maybe that isn't the case. Last week I was clearing our driveway from snow when I came back into the house to use the bathroom and overheard a phone conversation between Sarah and a friend of hers. Our house is very echoey, and I don't think she realized I was in the house because she thought I was still clearing the driveway. Recently, her friend broke up with her long-term boyfriend because she didn't feel like they were a long-term match. That's when Sarah said unprompted, and I quote, "because it was burned into my brain. I mean, it's a good thing you did this now. You don't want to end up with your second or third option like I did." I swear I thought she was joking, but from the tone of her voice I could tell that she wasn't. Something told me to pull out my phone and record, so I did. The conversation continued with her saying, "He's not the love of my life, but I do love him, and I guess the most damning of them all. If Paul, her ex, wasn't so terrified of marriage, I'd probably still be with him." She did conclude by saying that she really did love me, but it wasn't head over heels love, and that she thought I was a great husband and would be a good father someday. I have this all on recording. I was confused and flustered in that moment that I forgot I had to pee and went back outside to continue clearing the driveway. Inside I was destroyed. I felt like a zombie just going through the motions. When I finished up, I went back inside and I finally looked at her and I just felt empty. She smiled at me, but I didn't give her one back. She asked me what was wrong, so I just told her I was sick. That night I just stuck to myself and didn't say much. The next day over some beers I asked my best friends in the world, 33 and 34F, what they thought of the recording, and they immediately said to divorce. My friend Ashley, 34F Dat, said, "If a woman admits that she doesn't love you more than her ex, there's nothing more to say." A day later I brought this to my sister and parents who took the opposite approach. They said I should listen to her words carefully, and that she said she does love me, that she chose to commit to me, and that even though I'm not her soulmate, I shouldn't take commitment and an admission of love so lightly. I've been faking being okay at home Reddit, and I don't think I can keep up the act much longer. She's been extremely suspicious since that day and constantly asks me if anything is wrong. I have no idea what to do, but I know I need to make a decision soon. Can you guys see anything here that I can't? Should I give Sarah a chance? Do you think she really loves me? Hey there, Aita. I'm really sorry you're going through this. It sounds like a tough situation. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide what you're comfortable with and what you want in a relationship. It might be worth having an open and honest conversation with Sarah about what you overheard and how it made you feel. Only you know what's best for you in this situation. Good luck, man. Am I the antagonist for saying no to 2 women and their daughter? This incident occurred when I was catching my train. Because of severe winters, a lot of flights are getting canceled, so people are turning towards trains to travel. I was also one of those people. I was outside the railway station, waiting in line to get my luggage checked by security. Keep in mind the line was incredibly long, stretching about 500 meters. My turn was next, and I was about to put my luggage on the carousel for checking, when suddenly 2 women, I guess in their 50s, please don't criticize me, and their daughter, who happened to be the same age as me, began putting their luggage and pushing past us. I tried to get their attention and politely said, "Excuse me," but they ignored me. So I tapped one of the women on the shoulder and informed her about the long queue they should follow. She started being overly sweet, saying their train was in half an hour and so on. I thought to myself that if they had been in the queue, they would have easily caught their train. However, if they went back now, they would miss it. At that point, I was about to let them go in front of me, but then the daughter loudly exclaimed, "Let her go," while glaring at me. I was shocked, as she seemed angry as if I was inconveniencing her by cutting in line. People started looking at me and my patience disappeared. I felt sorry for her mother, who was being nice to me, but her daughter was acting entitled. The daughter's entitlement angered me so much that I replied in an equally loud voice, "What an entitled person. Maybe don't shout at people who are considering helping you." She responded with a dismissive, yeah. I didn't say anything else to her and turned to her mother saying, "I'm sorry, but your daughter needs to learn how to be polite when asking favors from others." Then, I turned around and informed the security personnel that the 3 of them had cut in line. The security staff took them aside and made them wait for 15 minutes so they wouldn't miss their train, but they couldn't go back to their previous spot in line. I moved forward and passed security. The family in front of me turned around and commented that I could have let them go and didn't have to be so rude. The older man scoffed and muttered something about youngsters while looking at me. Was I the one in the wrong? You were simply standing up for yourself and asserting your rightful place in the queue. Those women and their entitled daughter were clearly in the wrong by cutting in line, and it's great that you called them out on it. Don't let those judgmental people make you second-guess yourself. Am I the antagonist for ignoring my childhood friend after she ditched me on my wedding? I recently got married at the age of 29. I had been planning my wedding for a long time and had 10 bridesmaids so that no one important to me would be left out. To ensure that it wouldn't be a financial burden, I paid for all of their bridesmaid dresses. One of my childhood best friends, who we'll call Lee, was also a bridesmaid. I had rearranged 3 flights in order to attend her wedding and return the very next day because I couldn't take time off work. I fulfilled all of my bridesmaid duties for her wedding and made sure to be there no matter what. However, when it came time for my own wedding, Leah wasn't very involved in the planning process. She would occasionally send me messages to show her excitement, but overall, she seemed distant. I assumed that she was just busy and didn't think much of it. I was surprised and hurt when she didn't show up for my bachelorette party. My sister and maid of honor informed me that she had asked all of my bridesmaids about their availability and budget before planning the party. Leah had confirmed that she would attend, but at the last minute she backed out, claiming that she had an important work meeting. I believed her until I found out that she was actually on a cousin's trip during that time. This really upset me, so I confronted her about it. However, she didn't offer a proper explanation and became defensive. I decided to let it go because I didn't want to ruin my wedding and chose to give her the benefit of the doubt. The day before my wedding, I had a wonderful music night. Leah was present and everything seemed normal. The next morning, when I called all of my bridesmaids to my room for the final bridal entry practice, I discovered that Leah had already left because she needed to attend another wedding. I was extremely upset. Being in bridal mode, this greatly affected my mood, and I had to make some last-minute changes to the plans. After the wedding, I confronted Leah again, but she showed no remorse. She simply told me that she also had to attend her husband's cousin's wedding, and since she was already present for one wedding-related event, it shouldn't be a big deal that she missed mine, as I would be too busy on my wedding day to interact with anyone. I asked her why she hadn't told me earlier, as I wouldn't have bought her a bridesmaid dress or planned things around her if I had known. She said that she didn't want to upset me and thought it was best to avoid being emotionally manipulated into staying. Since then, I have been avoiding her. I used to have a lot of love for her, but I feel so betrayed that it seems to have disappeared. Some people think that I'm being petty and should just forgive her. So, am I the asshole? It's completely understandable that you're hurt and upset by your friend's actions. You went above and beyond to be there for her during her wedding, and it's only fair to expect the same in return. It's not petty to expect honesty and communication in a friendship, and you have every right to distance yourself from someone who betrayed your trust. My mom is being very weird about my upcoming wedding. My mom is acting oddly about my upcoming wedding. I am a 29-year-old woman and my fiancé is 28 years old. We got engaged in December after dating for a little over 2 years. Currently, we are in the process of planning our wedding, and even though it involves a lot of work, compromises, and some worries, we are still very excited to get married in, probably, 2025. My mom, who is in her early 70s, has been acting strange about the whole engagement and wedding thing. She kept questioning whether I'm certain about wanting this, if we plan to have a long engagement, and similar things. After Christmas, my friends scheduled an appointment for me to try on wedding dresses because I had no idea what I wanted. I didn't really expect to find the dress, but I did. Since my mom lives several hours away and can't make long drives, she obviously couldn't come with me. I told her about the dress and sent her a few photos. She said she didn't like it and didn't say anything else. It definitely hurt my feelings because every young woman wants their mother to think they look beautiful in their wedding dress. I didn't respond for a couple of weeks. Now, my best friend of many years has agreed to fly out to be my maid of honor, and I'm extremely excited. I thought this could break the ice between my mom and me, so I texted her the news. Unfortunately, I didn't receive any response from her. This is a significant milestone, and I feel excluded by my mom, who I usually consider one of my closest friends. Some things that might be relevant to her behavior. 1. My mom and dad had a terrible relationship with a messy divorce. 2. They got married only because she got pregnant, and she was 7 months pregnant during the wedding. 3. I am an only child. Regarding my fiancé and me, when we first moved in together, we had a tough time. We almost broke up, but I decided to give him a second chance. After that rough patch, he went to therapy, and ever since, our relationship has been great. He is very loyal and faithful. He loves me deeply and shows it through his actions. He has supported me even at my lowest points and has believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. He tells me he loves me multiple times every day. We split household responsibilities fairly. We have discussed and agreed upon our future plans for children, including how many we want, how we want to raise them, and when we want to have one. He is financially responsible, and we have discussed our financial arrangement. Both of us have stable jobs with good earning potential. I'm a lawyer and he's a software engineer. We will be attending premarital counseling together, consulting a financial advisor, and getting a prenuptial agreement. I mention all of this to show that we are both capable adults who have carefully thought through our decisions, can work together in managing a household, and are deeply in love. My mother is aware of all these details. Has anyone else dealt with a parent who wasn't very excited about their wedding? Did anything come out of it? This doesn't seem normal to me, but I'm unsure how to approach the situation. It's definitely tough when your own mom isn't showing enthusiasm for your wedding. It sounds like she might have some personal issues surrounding marriage, especially considering her own messy divorce. Maybe it would be worth trying to have an open and honest conversation with her to see if there's something bothering her that she hasn't expressed yet. Ultimately though, remember that it's your special day, and your mom's reactions shouldn't overshadow your excitement and happiness. Am I the antagonist for pushing my husband to take my daughter on his trip? This post is about a situation involving my husband, my daughter, and her biological father. I would like to hear what other people would do in this scenario. Some background information. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and my husband is her stepfather. He has been in her life since she was 5 years old, and my daughter really loves him. Unfortunately, my relationship with her biological father is not great. He disappears from our lives and then reappears sporadically. I allow him to see my daughter as long as he tells me in advance, and she agrees to it. Recently, he returned with the same story of wanting to be in my daughter's life, and she wants to give him another chance. When my husband and I met, I also met his sister. It turned out that both of our daughters were the same age, and they became best friends like cousins. They adore each other. However, my husband's sister got a better opportunity in another state last year, and this made my daughter very sad, as she was used to spending time with her cousin. As a Christmas gift, my husband got her plane tickets to Houston, where his sister now lives, so that she could see her best friend during her spring break. My daughter told her biological dad about her plans, and he expressed discomfort with her going on a trip with my husband, his reference to my husband as a man. I told him that he doesn't have the right to make decisions like that, because he has not been consistently involved in our daughter's life. I then shared with my husband what my ex said, kind of marveling at his audacity. However, my husband became silent and later explained that he doesn't feel comfortable taking our daughter on the trip if my ex is against it. I was confused, but he reminded me of a past incident where my ex reported me to Child Protective Services when I started dating someone else. At that time, my ex threatened to make repeated reports if I didn't go back to him. While my daughter was never taken away, my husband witnessed how vindictive my ex can be. He doesn't want to be in a situation where my ex can make false accusations. I told my husband not to worry because the truth eventually came out, and I was awarded custody, so we shouldn't let my ex control our decisions. However, my husband said that he would only go on the trip if I could go too, which isn't possible due to my work. I am frustrated with my husband because I feel like he is letting my ex have control over our decisions. Wow, that's a tough situation. It's understandable that your daughter is excited to see her cousin, and it's great that your husband got her plane tickets. It's tough that your ex is causing problems again, but it seems like your husband is just concerned about your daughter's well-being and doesn't want to put himself in a vulnerable position. It's frustrating, but maybe you guys can find a compromise that works for everyone. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.